Okay, in Unit 6, we're going to talk about basic maneuvers in a low-risk environment. And the first thing we're going to talk about are intersections. So, first test question that we're going to talk about is how many feet ahead of where you plan to turn should you use your turn signals? And we'll watch this police officer talk about a feature that your car has.
The auto industry has made incredible advancements on technology and safety on vehicles. But what if I told you there's a feature on every car that's standard that not only will help prevent crashes, but also help prevent road rage a little bit? Let me show you. So if you look at your steering wheel here, to the left side of your steering wheel, there's this stick that comes out. And it's pretty incredible. It's called a turn signal. If you push it down, let me show you what it does. It's amazing. On the front of your car, it starts making a light flash. Now if you push it down, it indicates that you're going to turn to the left. But not only on the front, let me show you what else it does here. On the back of your car, it also flashes a light, indicating that you're going to turn left or make a lane change. Now, it does just the opposite if you push it up. Again, it's right here next to your steering wheel. It may require that you put down your coffee or your cell phone or whatever you have in your hands so that you can safely drive. And if you push it up, it indicates that you're going to go right. Now, this is not only the right thing to do, it's not only against the law not to use it, but it's the courteous thing to do. And it's going to help people around you understand your indication that you're going to make a lane movement or make a turn. So please use your turn signal.
He was using sarcasm, of course, about his turn signals. But on the test, the answer is 100 feet away. You should place your turn signals 100 feet or 3/4 of a block. Now, out in the country, what I'm going to tell you is, I will tell you when you pass these warning signs for the intersections, it's a good place to put your turn signals on. Now, they're farther away than 100 feet. Once you pass them, just a good reminder to turn your turn signals on. But when you are in a city or a block setting, you want to put your turn signals on 3/4 of a block from where you're going to turn. It is important, though, that you don't turn it on before or more than one block, because if you put your turn signals on there, they're going to think you're going to be turning on the street. And a car could be waiting to turn and will pull out in front of you. All right, we're going to watch video 6.2 about approaching, entering, and stopping and turning at intersections.
Let's start with turning. We approach a turn at the right speed. Here we have more than a ton of car wanting to go straight ahead and only the front tires to turn it. Whenever we go too fast, the tires lose their grip. Approaching the turn, we're better off going too slow than too fast. We start from the middle of the lane. Starting too far to the right, we have trouble getting around. Moving left at the start may make for an easier turn, but risks a collision with someone to the left, or encourages someone to try passing us on the right. In making the turn, we need to allow for the fact that the rear wheels track well inside the front wheels. We need to round out the turn so that the rear wheels clear the corner. Let's see the whole turn, from the middle of the lane, around the corner, into the middle of the new lane, and straighten out. We need to guard against a few common mistakes. There's a way to keep from doing this. We need to wait until the side mirror is even with the corner before we start the turn. A second mistake is turning too wide. This usually results from starting the turn too late or not turning the wheel sharply enough. The last is not straightening soon enough and overshooting the turn. A left turn is wider and easier, but it's made the same way. We proceed to the middle of the intersection far enough to turn without cutting the corner, and turn into the middle of the lane. Smoothly done.
When turning corners, there is one basic rule for lanes. We start from the lane closest to the direction we want to go and turn into the lane closest to where we came from. On a right turn, we start from the right lane and enter the right lane. This way, we cross the fewest lanes of traffic and have the smallest chance of interfering with others. If we need to be in the other lane for some reason, we change lanes after the turn.
Statistics show that new drivers are much more likely than more experienced drivers to miss seeing cars at intersections. We check the path ahead and to the left to make sure the way is clear. No problem. But it's not always that easy. This time we need to wait for that car. We can pull into the intersection, so we'll be ready when the way is clear. We keep the wheels straight ahead to keep from being pushed into the other car's path in case we're hit from behind by an inattentive driver. Okay, now can we go? He has a green light too. Always make the last check a check of the travel path you're about to enter. When we cross or enter traffic, we need a large enough gap to accelerate from a standing start. That can take several seconds. On city or residential streets where cars are traveling 25 to 30 miles per hour, that's about a half a block. Out on the highway, it's double that distance. A car may be moving a lot faster than it appears. That's why it pays to play it safe and allow plenty of room.
Room to enter is one thing. Room to exit is another. We never enter an intersection until we're sure we can make it all the way through. Let's go for a drive.
What do we do here? We edge out very slowly until we can see upstream.
We'd like to make a left turn here.
What should we do now? We were smart to ignore the guy waving us on. He has no way of knowing if the way is clear. He wants us to move so that he'll have a better view.
It looks clear now. Wrong.
Sometimes we can't get a good view of oncoming traffic. In that case, we have to wait until the light changes, or if we're lucky, traffic clears.
All right, a little video review. To keep from driving over the curb when turning, what should the driver do? Well, remember, your rear wheels will be closer to the curb than your front wheels. So even though your front wheels make it, your back wheels might run over the curb. So what you should do is wait till your side mirror gets to the corner, remember that reference point, before you turn the wheel. When turning right on a road with multiple lanes, which lane should the driver enter when turning? You always turn into the closest lane, or how the test refers to it as turn in to the lane. When you make a right-hand turn, turn from the right lane into the lane closest to the curb. So approach the intersection. For number one, search all corners, make sure you're in the proper lane. If restriction to line of sight, change position and reduce speed. Check your mirrors, adjust your speed. When you enter intersections, look to the front, left, and right. Check traffic and count to 3 before moving. So if you're at a red light and the light turns green, it's not a go as fast as you can go. It's not 3 seconds, it's a 3 count, which is 1, 2, 3, which is like a second and a half a second. You're going to look left, right, left, make sure traffic is clear and traffic and pedestrians are no longer in the intersection. You may continue if the traffic light is green or intersection is clear. Do not block the intersection. When you stop at intersections, you may have to stop if there is a yellow or red light to stop, yield sign, or something in your path of travel. Begin braking, tap your brake pedal a few times. I'm not a tapper. What we're going to talk about when we talk about braking is slow the car down to stop. So by using that brake gradually, it will put your brake lights on far enough ahead to let people know you're slowing down. There are staggered stops designed to keep traffic staggered to allow for large vehicles. Sometimes trucks have to make wide turns and they need that extra room. So just because their line over here is on the right doesn't mean you go up that far. Sometimes they're staggered stops. Double stops consist of stopping at a stop sign or a line even if view is blocked, then pulling ahead slightly and stopping again where the driver can see better. I will use the term creep up, keep creeping, creep, because once we stop, we can't see. So look at picture number 1. You can't see to the right even though you stopped at the stop sign or the white line. So you creep up until you can see, and then you stop again, check left, right, left, and then you'll go. Where to stop at intersections? Well, simple rule. You stop at the white line, the first white line. If there's no white line, there's a crosswalk, which looks like a white line. So never cross the solid white line. Sometimes crosswalks have bricks. This would be like the imaginary white line, the cement. If there's no white line and no crosswalk, you stop before the intersection. Now here's a couple of hints. If there's no white line, imagine a white line going from the yellow to the white line. Okay, sometimes there's pavement changes too that you can see. And you want to stop where you can see. A stop sign, if there's no white line, does not mean stop at the stop sign. It means stop at the intersection. So you might go past the stop sign if there's no white line to a point where you can see. You must have a complete stop. But remember, a stop sign means stop at the intersection, not the stop sign. Turning at intersection. Check for oncoming and cross traffic, other highway users, and roadway conditions. Check your mirrors, signal, and steer into the proper lane. Tap the brake pedal or slow down. Remember, if you make a right turn, you must be in the right lane. To make a left turn, you must be in the left lane. Turning intersections, adjust the speed, recheck traffic, steer into the proper lane, adjust speed, and check mirrors. When you turn left, this is correct because you're in the left lane and you turn into the closest lane. This is incorrect because they're in the right lane and they make a left. That's illegal. So make sure you're in the correct lane, select the travel path of an oncoming traffic, wait for a safe gap in traffic, and turn into the appropriate lane. Same thing with making a right turn. Right turn, safe turn. Remember, right lane, turn into the closest lane to the curb. This is incorrect because they're not in the right lane and they turn right. Now, the only time you can make a left or right and not be in the farthest lane is when it's a multiple lane turn. And you know this because they will tell you on the pavement or signs. They're more dangerous, increased risk, gap requirements are increased, drivers cutting across lanes, you must be careful that you stay in your lane. A lot of times they put dotted lines on the turn lanes for drivers to follow. All right, roundabouts. Let's talk about some roundabouts. How should you handle entering roundabout? Well, the key here is yield to traffic in the roundabouts. We'll watch a short video about roundabouts.
The state of Michigan is installing roundabouts to improve safety and reduce congestion in certain intersections. When used properly, Roundabouts reduce the frequency and severity of crashes and can save lives. When approaching a roundabout in your vehicle, slow down and look to see if other vehicles are present. Vehicles entering a roundabout must yield to traffic already in the roundabout. Once there is an adequate gap in traffic, safely enter the appropriate lane and exit onto the destination street. Roundabouts are designed to accommodate larger vehicles like semi-trucks and emergency response vehicles. When traveling in a multi-lane roundabout, never drive next to or attempt to pass a large truck. Allow large vehicles to proceed through the roundabout and give them extra room to make it through. Remember to yield to all vehicles in a roundabout, including trucks. Also, it is important to remember that if an emergency response vehicle is approaching while you are in a roundabout, complete your turn before you pull over and come to a complete stop. Roundabouts are another form of an intersection, so do not stop in the middle of a roundabout. You may be blocking emergency vehicles. Vehicles also must yield to pedestrians using crosswalks in a roundabout. Pedestrians have the right of way. Traffic may proceed through the roundabout once all the pedestrians using a crosswalk have safely cleared the lane. Pedestrians are strictly prohibited from crossing to the large center island of a roundabout. Pedestrians must use crosswalks and cross one lane or approach at a time. For increased safety, pedestrians also should look in all directions while crossing within the crosswalk. Bicyclists are allowed to ride through a roundabout with the rest of traffic and should be treated like any other vehicle. In order to be more visible to other drivers, bicyclists should ride toward the center of their lane. If a bicyclist prefers to cross a roundabout with pedestrians, they should use the crosswalk under the same rules of safety as pedestrians, including walking their bicycle through the crosswalk. The rules for driving through roundabouts are quite simple. Slow down when approaching a roundabout and yield to oncoming traffic. Use the signing and markings to direct you to the proper lane and follow them to assist you through the roundabout.
All right, let's continue with Unit 6, Basic Maneuvers in a Low-Risk Environment. And the next maneuvers we're going to talk about are changing lanes. Basically, in our drives, we'll have 6 drives. The first drive is just kind of a don't die, just get familiar with the car, country roads. Drive 2 will focus on lane changes. Drive 3 will focus on parking. Drive 4 will focus on getting on the expressway, highway, and 5 and 6 is a review of everything. So let's talk about changing lanes. This is the video that the state wants me to show you. I'm going to show it to you, but then I'm going to kind of go over some lane changes in my own terminology and so on. So let's watch video 6.3, Changing Lanes.
The time that it is an absolute necessity to check behind is before we attempt to move into someone else's lane. As we saw in an earlier session, with the mirrors adjusted properly, we can see cars behind us. And if a car appears in the side mirror at all, it is too close. Of course, we still have to look to the side. By using our mirrors to glance behind us, we can keep our attention focused primarily ahead, which is our first duty. We also need to check the mirrors after a pass. It looks far enough back, but that's a convex mirror. Only the inside rear mirror can give us the true picture. It's safe to change lanes only when we can see the whole front of the car.
All right, changing lanes, a video review. When is it absolute necessity to check behind? You must check behind you anytime you make a lane change. Every time. Very important. When is a car too close to your vehicle when attempting to change lanes? If you see it in your side mirror or your blind spot, it is too close. In your rearview mirror, if you see the headlights in your rearview mirror and you can see the front of the car, you have enough room in your rearview mirror. But your side mirror or your blind spot, you cannot make a lane change. Which mirror gives you the true picture of where other vehicles are behind you? It's the rearview mirror. That's your decision maker. So when you change lanes, number one, maintain safe following. Number two, you're going to check your mirrors, make sure you adjust your speed. You're going to steer into the lane and cancel your turn signal. So let's go through my process. Behind the wheel procedure, lane changes. The instructor will say the following. Turn signals, check 1, check 2, check 3, change lanes, then you put your turn signals off. So what does this all mean? So when you're driving, turn signals. If you take your turn signal, usually located on the left of the steering wheel, you're going to push down if you want to go left and up if you want to go right. Do not grab at it. This step of the communicates your decision. This step does not need visual confirmation that you have a safe gap. If you use them, cars might create a gap. Sorry, it's hard to see that in the bottom there. Let me see if I can fix that. There, I fixed that, so you should be able to see it a little bit better. Let me repeat that. This step communicates your decision. This step does not need visual confirmation. So my point is, if you want to make a lane change, just put them on. Don't make the mistake of trying to look to see if you can put them on, see if you can get over, because you may not be able to get over, but if you put your turn signals on, cars will allow you to get over. And so we'll create a gap. Oh, I forgot. I've got a little, see if this works. Little turn signal. Nope. I don't hear anything. Oh, there we go. The old turn signal. Now, check 2. I should say number 2, check number 1. This is your decision maker. When I say turn signals, check 1, you're looking at your rearview mirror. Like I said earlier, if you see the car's headlights, you have enough room. So if there's a safe gap, you then go to 2. If there's not a safe gap, you abort your lane change. Turn your turn signals off, and you can't make a lane change. You must wait for the cars to clear or to give you room. If check 1 is good, you go to check 2. This is the check your blind spots. You are looking for cars you can't see in check 1. If you check 2 and there's no car, go to 3. If there's a car, you abort lane change. If you see any part of the car, abort the lane change. Now remember, we adjust our side mirrors different. Your parents, the way they adjust their mirrors, it is possible for them to still make a lane change with the car in their side mirror. The way we set ours, the new enhanced setting, ours are wider, and if you see that car, you cannot get over. Check 3 is your blind spot. This is where you're going to take your chin and look over your shoulder. So I want you to do that right now. You're looking straight ahead. Look over to your left, over your left shoulder. That's your blind spot. Start over. You're looking ahead. Look over your right shoulder. That's your blind spot. It's a little different for your parents. If you ever watch your parents do it, they have to lean forward and lean back to look back to see the blind spots. So let me show you in action. If you are clear with the checks, 1, 2, 3, make the lane change. After you complete the lane change, turn your turn signal off. Now, I want you to watch her hands. You don't turn the wheel like you're turning a car to make a left turn. You barely move the wheel. All you're doing is dipping your shoulder down. So watch this. You'll see me go through checks 1, 2, 3, and she will make the lane change. Okay, we're going to make a left lane change. Put your left turn signals on. Check 1, check 2, blind spot, and get over. Turn signals off. All right, it's perfect. Let's watch it one more time. Make sure you follow along with checks 1, 2, and 3. Okay, we're going to make a left lane change. Put your left turn signals on. Check 1, check 2, blind spot, and get over. Turn signals off. Notice how she kept her hands on the wheel when she turned her turn signals on. Don't grab it. She just turned her head slightly and went through the progression. Some problems associated with changing lanes. Well, not using your turn signals, slowing down, not selecting a safe gap. And this last one, think about this. You're in the left lane of a 2-lane. You're making a you're making a right lane change. So you check 1, you check 2, and when you check 3, you look over your shoulder and your hands move to the left. Well, where's your car going to end up going? Crossing the center line and drifting. So be careful you don't drift when you check 2 and 3.